Hey, fourth and fifth graders. I wanted to talk with you a little bit today and remind you of some of the things that we've been learning with theme. Sorry, I'm not going to be able to make it with you today, but I'm going to go learn a lot about math instruction and to learn a little bit more about how to coach teachers in math. So I hope I learn a lot, but I hope you learn a lot too. I'm sorry I can't be with you. So we're going to pick up where we left off, and I want to remind you of a couple of strategies that we've been learning about. One of them is a strategy that just helps us remember the text and remember some of the most important parts as we're reading. That strategy is called chunking. And if you don't remember what chunking is, it's where we read a little bit in the text, we stop every so often, and maybe we jot down a picture of what it is that's most important, something that we want to be mindful of, that we don't want to forget, something that helps us to remember what's happening in the story, the most important parts. If that is a strategy that really helps you out, as we've been studying over the last month or so, I want for you to continue to use that strategy in your own text that you're going to be reading today. If it's a strategy that you feel like maybe you just don't really need because you kind of understand all the important parts of the text, you don't have to use chunking. It's just one that helps you remember the text and to remember what the most important parts were. The second strategy that I want you to think about is questioning. We've asked ourselves a couple of different questions over the last couple of weeks that really help us think about what the theme of a story is. We've kind of come to the conclusion that we read fiction text for lots of reasons, but one of the most important reasons that we choose a book is to help us grow and be better people. So that's one question. That's one way that we can really think about what the theme is. As we're reading, we stop and ask ourselves, how is this book making me a better person? What did I learn from this book to make me a better person? And a lot of the times, whatever you discovered of however the lesson that you've learned from this text tends to lead us to the theme. So that's one question that you can ask yourself. Maybe another question that you can ask yourself that we've talked a lot about is what kind of advice would you give to the character? So if you're reading along and you notice that there's a problem in the story, this could be a good place for you to stop and think about what advice would you give this character. A lot of the times the lessons that we learn or the advice that we could give to the character really help us understand the theme of the story, the message of the story. What is the purpose of the story that grows us and makes us better people, something that we can apply to our own life. So those are the two strategies I want for you to think about using today to support you in being able to infer the theme of whatever text it is that you choose to read. So again, that's chunking the text, if that's beneficial to you, and asking questions. How does this text make me a better person? What lesson can I learn about this? And what advice would I give the character? All right? You have an organizer that's going to help you think through a lot of those things. And so I want for you to make sure that as soon as you get started today, you pick up with the text that you left off with. Some of you chose to read the book, The Coat. Some of you started reading a story on Epic. So if you chose Epic, your goal is to get in as quick as possible, to get started in the text, and begin reading. You have a very short period of time with me, so get into the text and begin reading immediately. Stop a few minutes before the end of your resource time, or of our time together. You're going to stop. And I want for you to really think about the graphic organizer that I've printed out for you. I want for you to think about what page did you start at? Where did you end? Because I want to see what's the volume of your reading. How much are you really reading during this time? And that helps us think about the amount of reading that you do. Is that helping you to be a better reader or not? So make sure that you really take your organizer seriously because it helps me to think what your helps me to understand what your thinking was while I'm gone because I'm not going to be there to see it. So you have to make sure you get your thinking down on the paper for me, okay? If you have any questions or need help logging on, you're going to be in the same room as Mr. Bruns, and I can't wait to see your work. I can't wait to see what you're discovering about theme in your own text. Have a good time and enjoy your reading.